Good morning, everyone. My name is Yasmin Flay Vincent. I'm the Director of Religious Education at the First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. I welcome you all into my home. I have sent the dog on a walk and the boys on a Sunday rainy drive, even though it's Saturday. In the world of technology, we can do things like this. I am going to welcome you all. We will begin by lighting our chalice. Our theme this month is story, and it also happens to be Memorial Weekend. So let's just take a moment to gather and be here together in peace. We light this chalice to recognize our stories. May my story as a UU help me to understand who I am. Help me to live into my values and help me to light the way for others. May my story of my family help me to remember my ancestors, to recognize both the changes they have brought and the damage they have done. May my story as an anti-racist lead me to helping others, to disrupting oppression, and to upstand against bullying. May my story as an interconnected being help me care for the earth and all her caregivers, and help me understand wonder and awe. Help me remember that we are all made of stardust. May my story of courageous love help me to live my convictions in public, and help me stand up for those who are marginalized, and help me write a new story for a better world. So we light this chalice to remember our stories. Thank you, Robin Slaw. So, of course, we need to talk about memorial memories. That is the whole point of this weekend. I know some of us are probably thinking the weather isn't really conducive to the plans that you may have had. But again, it's, we're on the other side of this pandemic. Apparently, our governor is lifting some restrictions, but of course, everyone should continue to do what is best to keep your family safe. I just wanted to briefly remind everyone, for June, we are probably hosting a COVID vaccination clinic at our church, so stay tuned for that. Memorial memories. It's Memorial Day weekend during our theme of story. And Memorial Day is a time for honoring and mourning the military personnel who have died in the performance of their duties while serving in the United States Armed Forces. And so we think about stories of brave people who have served and protected our country. In January, we inaugurated a new president, Joe Biden, who described our country in his speech. Let us be the nation that we know we can be. A nation united, a nation strengthened, a nation healed. This is a great nation, and we are good people. This is the United States of America, and there has never been anything we haven't been able to do when we've done it together. It's our military people who swear to protect and serve this America that Joe Biden describes. So when we honor them and mourn those who have died during their service, we are remembering their stories. And how does remembering these stories help us? Well, by telling stories of courageous people, we are inspired to be courageous people too. So during the month of May, we actually engage and think about war on 2 different days. But most of the people don't really put those 2 together. So today, when we think about engaging war in Memorial Day, we tell stories of soldiers and courage and sacrifice, but what most people don't realize is that Mother's Day, which we celebrated earlier in the month, we take the time and engage and think about war as it was an impassioned movement against it. And so a Mother's Day proclamation, which was shared in our May News and Views letter, was written by a Unitarian Universalist, Julia Ward Howe, who happened to also be the author or poet of Battle Hymn of the Republic. So while this, holiday dated back to 1870 and then was made as a national holiday in 1914, I think by President Woodrow Wilson, we know it as a commercialized celebration of candies and flowers and gift certificates and, love and everyone doing what they can to show for their mothers and those who are in mother type roles. I think that's important to add. There's nothing wrong with that, but really the original goals of the holiday was really to promote peace. So while we think about the two, I think it's important to also know that the premise of war is really the foundation, and we must continue to acknowledge that. So on behalf of everyone here from our church, we thank those who did serve. And for those who are newly enrolling, all the graduates out there who in this day and era are still willing to get in those boots and get out there and do the dirty work. So for that, we are also thankful. So it is now time to enjoy our opening hymn. And in my mind, Randy's here and he's playing beautifully. And so we have Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. And I'm going to do the best I can do. Modified version, of course. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Open your ears to the song. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Such a catchy UU tune. I feel like it's a standard. If someone sings it, you're like, it's one of those. And I think there's some parody out there as well if you search YouTube, like exit, exit, go away. But we're not there yet. So I would like to read our covenant to me, which is really sort of the golden armor. We come together as a religious community upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in our world. It is now the time of our service where we do calling candles, and for safety reasons, I have some electrical ones. I guess battery operated would be more of the correct term. So I have some for the past, the present, and the future. And I just want everyone to know, whoever is struggling or working through things, if your lifeboat is just a simple log and you're treading for dear life, or you're cruising the yacht and everything in between.
It's 10 o'clock.
I just hope that you realize that we here, all of us in some way, are collectively sending good thoughts and prayers to you. And for those celebrating joys and amazing things and ending of school year and all the, closures that are happening at this time in our society, I guess, we also light that candle to celebrate with you and send you the motivation and inspiration to go onward and, act and do, not just hope. And then lastly, of course, for those who have yet to find their home, let it be known that we welcome you and invite you and cannot wait to do this in person in September. hopefully our summer leads us to all wonderful things. So that, my friends, is our calling candles. For our meditation hymn, we're going to do I Know This Rose Will Open, but ultimately, I think it's important for us to take a moment of silence to honor our heroes and sheroes of war. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. It's hard to sing when you're not a singer, but we don't care, or I hope you don't. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings, and I know this rose will open. So, whether or not you think you're a rose, you are. And hopefully, you can feel the comfort to open your wings. So, today, our story for all ages I found is Answer Mountain, because there are so many things to a story. We can get into the historical aspects, where one time we talked about the original instructions that were sort of passed on through generations as we gathered around the fires and shared so many different things that just were passed on and passed on and passed on. And so now today we have all of those things, and everyone comes to it with a different perception. The schema they design in their heads from how they heard it and what they were smelling when they were listening and how they felt and maybe even where they were and what they were eating. All the essence of sensory stimulation engraved in our original instructions. We are storytellers. We are the people of story. And that is our theme this month. And so sometimes, answers are hard and we're always looking for the right ones. And as a teacher, I can tell you they're flying at you every second. Mrs. Vincent, mom, or whoever you are. Decisions come and decisions go. So today's story is The Answer Mountain. Long ago and far away, or yesterday and just around the corner, or maybe somewhere halfway in between, there was a town that sat quiet and content, tucked in the shadow of a mountain. And carved on the side of the mountain, big and tall, so no one could miss them, there were the words, "The answer is no." No one knew where the words came from or why they were there. They just had always been there. But oh my goodness, the people who lived in that town, cuddled into that mountain, were glad to have those words there, because whenever the townspeople had a question, all they had to do was to look up at the mountain and read it. And the answer was always no. Think about that. Would that work for us here at the Unitarian Church? Does the building need a new roof? The answer is no. Making decisions was very simple in that town, and life went on smoothly and easily in the town, cuddled into that mountain, until one day. Now, on that particular day, Ma Custis was about to make dinner for her family, and she couldn't just decide. She just couldn't come up with what to do. Should she make steak or stew, pasta or potatoes, dumplings or donuts? She went out into the yard. Should I make liver for dinner tonight? She asked and looked up at the mountain, and the mountain said, well, the answer is no. All right, I knew that, really. Nobody is crazy about liver, but should I maybe make steak for dinner? And the mountain said, the answer is no. Should I make chicken? And the mountain said, the answer is no. Should I make tacos or tofu, baked beans or broccoli, pork chops or popcorn? The mountain said nothing, but the answer is no. Now, Ma Custis asked more questions until the sun disappeared behind the mountain. She kept on asking questions until the sun came up around the other way. And all the mountain ever said was, the answer is no, because Ma couldn't get an answer that was any kind of answer. She and her family went all night and all the next day and all the next night without dinner. My goodness. Finally, Ma just gave up and made liver anyway. Even though the mountain said no, and even though everyone hated liver, because liver was the first thing she thought of, Ma Custis had had enough. She glared at the mountain, stamped her foot, and shook her fist. Why is the answer always no? Why can't you just say yes for once? Ma turned around and stomped away to ring the town bell and call a meeting, just like we did last week. Well, when that bell rang, the whole town came running, from the oldest man with the longest beard to the youngest children who still needed carrying. No one would miss a town meeting. They all came and they all listened carefully as Ma Custis told her story. Seems to me, she said, that we've got a problem and that mountain just isn't helping us like it should. Seems to me it would be nice if it would say yes for a while. And the townsfolk knew Ma Custis had a point, but they didn't much like this idea, changing something that had been the same for so long. But after they thought and then thought some more, they finally nodded solemnly. The mountain would have to be recarved. Now, Mason Sharp, the stone carver, nodded along with the rest of them, and he scratched his nose and adjusted his cap and slowly gazed up at the mountain. Looks to me like I could do the carving, if that's all right with all of you. And so it was. Mason spent the next 2 weeks up on the side of that mountain, chiseling and chipping and carving away, and coming down only when it got too dark to see. And when he was done, the mountain said, the answer is yes. Now Mason rang the bell, and the town came together. And the oldest woman with the whitest hair to the youngest kids who still needed carrying, they all wanted to see the new sign, and they all wanted to cheer for the stone carver and his hard work. Now, Ma Custis, who started all of this, she came right up to the front of the crowd, and she figured she ought to be the person to ask the first question of this new and different mountain. Since she discovered the problem with the old one, she stepped right up to the foot of the mountain, looked way up to the top, and asked, should I make dinner? Should I make dinner tonight? Well, should I make liver for dinner tonight? And the mountain said the answer is yes. Well, now Ma Custis almost fell over with surprise, but Pa Custis told me he'd never forgive me if I served liver again, and all my kids threatened to hide in the barn for a week. Should I really serve liver? And the mountain said the answer is yes. The townspeople began to grumble. They didn't like the sound of this. Ma Custis' family grumbled the loudest. But, well, I can't, Ma said. I just can't serve liver again. I promised I wouldn't. Are you telling me I should break my promise? And the mountain said the answer is yes. The grumbling got louder. And Ma Custis, well, she glared at the mountain again. She stamped her foot and she shook her fist and she turned to the townspeople and said, this just isn't right. This can't be right. What are we going to do? Once again, the townsfolk put on their thinking caps. Everyone thought. Ma Custis, Pa Custis, and all the Custis kids, who probably thought the hardest of all because they were worried about the liver, very worried. Finally, the smallest one of the Custis kids popped up. Why does there have to be just one answer? Can't we have more? The townspeople gasped. No one had ever thought of such a thing before. They mumbled and grumbled and talked among themselves. Finally, they decided that no mountain ought to say, the answer is sometimes yes, and the answer is sometimes no, and sometimes wait and see, and sometimes I just don't know. Now, Mason the stone carver, who had been listening to all of this talk, cleared his throat, scratched his nose, and adjusted his cap and said, I think I can do it. I don't mind, not really. Even I did just finish carving in the new change, but well, it's going to take a lot of time, and I can't work all day like I did last time. How about I work on it when I can, and we'll hang up some kind of sign on the mountain that lets people know the answer's coming. And so it was. The funny thing was that for a little while, Mason worked on the mountain every day. And for a little while, everyone in town waited eagerly to see the new answer. But soon, the stonemason got tired of climbing the mountain every day, and everyone else got tired of waiting, and they all started asking each other questions and helping everyone else find answers that seemed to fit. The townspeople realized that different questions usually had different answers, and that sometimes the same question had more than one answer, and that there were many more answers than they had imagined. And all of that was fine with them. So after a while, they thought that maybe the answer the mountain was giving them right then, just as it was better and more sensible than any other answer it had given. And so they left it as it was. And the mountain said, the answer is under construction. The answer mountain. And so as we approach many answers that lie ahead for the future of our First Unitarian Church, let us be mindful that the answer may be under construction, and there may be more than one answer to a question. So it'll be exciting to all work together and share the new, lovely trials and tribulation of being in community in the 21st century. So at this time, we are going to sing a song, which is a classic again. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. And how appropriate is this next line? Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring you a song of love and a rose in the winter time, or any season at all, because that's what we do as you use. So that concludes the at-home service for friends and family and those who may just be cruising along looking for a place to be. We are 71 8th Street, First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. Come to the garden on AHA Night, June 10th for interaction outdoors. And here now our closing words. Be ours a religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, and its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, the creed all truth, and its rituals work of love. That's Theodore Parker. May words I say be kind and true. May love be a guide in all I do. May kindness sing within my heart, and may peace be with us while we're apart. Please note that this service will be recorded and posted to social media. Again, thank you to all of those during this weekend who have given themselves and their families, and those who supported those who went off at home, and all of it. Peace out.